Hi there, my name is Tyler Garnes, and I'm the founder and CEO of Box Out Marketing. And in a former life, I was the VP of Marketing at Infusionsoft. I spent almost 5 years at Infusionsoft, started out as the digital marketing manager, became the director of marketing, and then eventually the VP of marketing. And I want to welcome you to the I Love Infusionsoft show. This is the first episode of many to come. This will be a monthly show where each month we'll pick a topic and we'll dive deep on that topic. We'll probably interview experts, interview Infusionsoft customers, and really share with you the things that you need to know as an Infusionsoft customer about Infusionsoft. Today though, in this episode, I want to address a very important question. A question that has probably been on a lot of our minds. It has certainly been on mine. And that question is, has Infusionsoft lost its way? Now, I'm a diehard Infusionsoft evangelist, but I can't ignore the fact that it really seems like over the last few years, Infusionsoft has floundered. Infusionsoft 4 years ago or so raised about $100 million in investment funding to grow the business. And to date, we have not seen a whole lot of the fruits of that investment. Actually, we're starting to see some of those, but it really begs the question, what has happened? What's going on? Has Infusionsoft lost its way? You've seen various Infusionsoft team members leave the company or be let go from the company. There have been a round or two of layoffs. So what's going on over there? What's actually happening? And if I'm an Infusionsoft customer and I'm using Infusionsoft to run my business, should I stick with it? These are all questions in all of our minds. And in this episode, I'm going to dig deep into that question. Actually, at the end of the episode, in the last segment, I interview Clate, CEO of Infusionsoft, and ask some of the questions to get to the bottom of this. And then I'll give you my summary, my opinion as somewhat of an insider, not an insider anymore per se at Infusionsoft, but having been involved in the community, having been a key partner for many years with Infusionsoft, I'll share with you my opinion at the end of the show of what's going on and what you should do about it as an Infusionsoft customer. First, I want to go to an interview that I did a couple months ago. I flew to Utah to interview a man who has an absolutely amazing story. This man started almost 30 years ago, I think, as a janitor in a company. And for years and years and years, worked his tail off and became the CEO of a $5 billion company. So let's hear his story. How do you go from janitor to CEO of a $5 billion company? All of us, whether we're employees or whether we're business owners ourselves, can learn a thing or two from this man. All right, welcome everybody. So I'm here at the Mentors International headquarters in Utah with CEO Ron Dunford. Ron, thanks for being on the I Love Infusionsoft show.
Absolutely, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So I met Ron earlier this year at SuccessCon. As you may know, Infusionsoft has been involved with Mentors International for many years. Mentors International, we'll tell you a little bit more about it in a minute, but it's a micro-lending organization that extends micro-loans to entrepreneurs in third world countries. Wonderful organization, but Ron came to SuccessCon and that's where we met. And one of the things that I was extremely fascinated by was Ron's personal story. Nothing to do with Mentors International. But Ron started at a company called Schreiber Foods as the janitor and worked his way up over 36 years or so to become the president and CEO of an over $5 billion company. So, Ron, I'd love for you to tell us just a little bit about that experience. How do you go from janitor to CEO? And maybe there's some lessons to be learned there for our entrepreneurial friends.
Sure. Again, thank you. Appreciate you being here, Tyler. You know, I would say this. I was passionate always about leadership, right? So I was going to Utah State, went to school at Utah State. got a degree in geology of all things, and knew I needed to put myself through school, and so I started as the janitor and did the best janitor job I could possibly do, always with the eye of graduating and doing something else. And by the time I graduated, the oil industry kind of had gone belly up. There weren't any jobs, and I stayed in the dairy business and just continued to work my way up in the organization. I've sort of always believed in success and success principles and in leadership, and along the way I formulated my own sort of, I guess, principles for success and applied those early and often, and they seem to work out for me.
Awesome. So, most of our audience is small business owners. Maybe you could share some of those principles of success. They're all trying to lead typically small teams, but some of them are much larger. And whether you're really leading a team or not, that leadership, or those leadership principles are probably, really, really helpful. So, any thoughts you want to share there?
Sure. I'll share 3. How's that?
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah. So I'll just say the first one is dream big, right? Don't settle for anything less than what you deserve, and dream big. If you're going to do something, then do it in a big way. And so I'm a big believer in the power of vision and the power of knowing where you want to go, and having that out there. Secondly, I'm a big believer in the power of your thinking or your thoughts, and so expecting success, believing that every day when you do something, you're going to show up and you're going to win and you're going to expect success. And I think it was Spencer Kimball who one time said, if we knew how powerful our thoughts were, we'd never have a negative thought. And I really believe in that, right? So if we know how powerful our thoughts are, then why not think success? Why not think, and we know every day's not going to be perfect, but you ought to wake up every day thinking it's going to be pretty dang good, right? Yeah. And then the third one, I'll just say, is take action. Right? I think it was Norman Vincent Peale who said, whatever a person can conceive and believe, the person can achieve, right? Well, the conceive part is the dream big. The believe part is expecting success. And the achieve part is you actually have to do something about it, right? And not just busy work, but do something in the direction of your dream. Do something in the direction of where it is that you want to go. So I'll say focused work. And just those 3 principles alone are pretty impactful.
That's awesome. Love it. So hopefully you're taking notes on this. And Ron, I'm going to throw you a curveball and add-on question to that. So what do you say to the person who says, all right, sounds great in theory, but as a business owner, you wake up every day and get punched in the face, and you got to do that over and over and over. So how do you stay positive in that situation?
So it was Mike Tyson, I think, who said, everybody has a plan until I hit him in the nose, right? And so life does that to you, right? It still hits you in the nose. I'm a one who believes that nothing's ever going to go perfectly as planned, right? That doesn't take away what I think is the most important thing of the day. I'm going to go to bed at night, I'm going to wake up in the morning thinking, this is the most important thing that I need to do today. Life's going to throw me a curveball, unless it's just really something huge. I can get caught up in that whirlwind, I can get caught up in the busyness of life, or I can push that away and I can stay focused on what I wanted to do. So I don't let life's curveballs deter me from what I woke up that morning wanting to do.
That's great. So I think the key takeaway there is wake up with a plan and then just stay disciplined and don't let those curveballs get you off track. Huh? That's awesome. Great advice. So Ron, tell us a little bit about Mentors International. You're now retired,
yes,
but you're donating your time, your resources, whatnot, to now support Mentors International. And it's an amazing organization. I want to make sure everyone understands the good work that you guys do.
Thank you for that. What we're really trying to do is empower the world's impoverished to grow in self-reliance through personal and business mentoring and through access to financial resources. Right? So global poverty is still a huge issue. There's still 1 billion plus people who go to bed every night that are in extreme poverty, not just poverty. There will always be poverty, by the way, right? Because poverty is always on a relative scale. There's always going to be somebody who has more than somebody else. But can't we do something with extreme poverty? So that's defined as less than $1 a day. And there's a lot of that 1 billion people that are living on much less than $1 a day. And so whether it's families or foundations or organizations, companies, nonprofits that are working on poverty alleviation, the vision is kind of the same. The vision is there a way that we can have a world someday where everybody has the choice and the opportunity to be free from extreme poverty, right? So the person still has to make the choice, right? But we want to give them that choice. We want them to have that opportunity. So really, that's what we do, is we want to provide that through, again, mentoring, training, and access to finances. And we really work through entrepreneurs, which is so key to, I know, what you do in the Infusionsoft community, because it's a community of entrepreneurs. But we really believe that there's so much good that's going on in the world, and relief organizations and basic needs organizations and other things, and much needed and great work. But the real pathway to poverty alleviation and sustainability is to do that through building entrepreneurs. Right? If we can build entrepreneurs, then that can change an individual and a family and a village and a region and an economy and maybe a country, maybe a world someday, right? And so how do we build entrepreneurs and change the world sort of one entrepreneur at a time?
Yeah, it's awesome. Such great work. If you go to mentorsinternational.org and you watch some of the videos that they have, just the lives that they're changing, it's amazing. To bring some of that down to maybe more of a tangible level, if you're a small shop owner or even a street vendor in Mexico or the Philippines or some other third world country, your biggest struggle might just be, I don't have enough money to buy a little more corn to make some tortillas so I can sell some more tacos, right? And that's the kind of work that Mentors does. Is they'll do they'll extend a micro loan to a person in that kind of situation with some added mentorship and guidance in how to manage the money and grow the business, and they're helping people climb out of poverty through that kind of activity, which is really, really amazing.
And I would add on the training side of that, many of the people don't have access to finances, but they also don't understand basic financial principles. Right. So it's just the basic financial principles that they need to learn, then have access to some money, and then the ongoing mentoring. And we think that's really making a difference. Right? There's all kinds of numbers that you can look at, but I've literally traveled the world in the last 12 months, and I've met hundreds of our clients. And I can tell you without a doubt, because I've seen the tears in their eyes and I've heard their voices that we're making a difference. The things that we are doing are making life-changing, meaningful differences in people's lives. So I can look at all the numbers, and it's all great to see all that, but there's nothing quite like a human story and touching someone's heart, and that's making a difference.
That's awesome. So at SuccessCon earlier this year, we set a goal to raise $25,000 for Mentors International, and all this money goes towards these loans that goes out to these people, and those loans, as they get repaid, then that money gets relent. So it helps multiple people over and over and over as that happens. Well, we fell a little bit short on our goal. So part of the reason I'm doing this video is to invite you as a listener, as someone who's probably living in a much more prosperous situation than many of the people in the world, to invite you to dig where it hurts a little bit and to donate to Mentors International and help some of these people in third world countries who are struggling in these impoverished situations. So we'd love to hit our goal. Whatever you can donate is going to be helpful, but dig deep. Do it in a way that actually is maybe a little painful for you, because the more pain you cause for you, the more blessings you're going to provide for other people, and you have opportunities to make that money back much, much more quickly than a lot of these people. So, Ron, again, thank you so much. I do want to ask you one question.
Yes.
Since this is the I Love Infusionsoft show, I know you guys use Infusionsoft.
We do, yes.
What does Infusionsoft do for Mentors International?
We track all of our donors. We use it for our email. There's so many things. Personally, I'm not a super user, so interesting. I knew you were going to ask this question. I just figured you were. So I actually asked our CFO and our marketing director, I said, you guys use Infusionsoft. Tell me a little bit about it. I was like, bombarded with all of the good things that happened. One of the things that was, I thought, for me at least, that I liked hearing the most was about the community, the Infusionsoft community, right? So you have software and you get the function out of it, and there's some great things that we get, but what you don't really know that you're going to get is this community of people who are there to share ideas and to help out, and I think from my perspective, as much as anything, as a leadership guy, as a people guy, I love the community aspect. I know we get all the great function out of it, but it's everything else that it's hard to sort of measure, right? But means an awful lot. So it's a great community to be part of.
Well, that's awesome. I agree. That's why I continue to be part of this community, because it's an amazing group of people. And that ties in nicely to my next invitation, which is make sure you get your ticket to SuccessCon 2019. So the dates are May 8th through the 10th. It'll be in San Diego again, and we're going to have a great time bringing the whole Infusionsoft community together, sharing ideas, sharing what's working, what's not working, latest trends and things like that. And Mentors International will be there again, and we'll work hard again to raise some more money for our mentors. So Ron, thanks again. Appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Wow, what an absolutely amazing story. And I hope you realized that amongst all the things that he could have said, all the tips that he could have given us on how to be successful, it really all came down to leadership. Please realize as well, those of you that are running your own companies, that your company will not grow beyond your ability to lead. If you're stuck, if you're hitting up against one of those barriers, your business has plateaued, and you're not moving forward, realize that it's likely your leadership. Where do you need to improve in your leadership ability to move your business forward? Because your business will not grow beyond your leadership ability. Now, it is the holiday season as we're releasing this first episode of the I Love Infusionsoft show. And I want to invite you to open your hearts and open your wallets to help out Mentors International. Not the organization, but the recipients of what they do. I've had the wonderful opportunity to travel the world a bit and spend some time in third world countries, and I can tell you that the conditions that so much of the world lives in is just heartbreaking. And we are so blessed to live in a situation where we have a roof over our head and we have opportunity to build and grow a business and to create wealth. And these people who are trying so hard just need a little bit of help through some mentoring, through microloans, etc. A donation of $50, $100, a couple $100 can help someone immensely in these situations. At SuccessCon earlier this year, we set a goal to raise $25,000 for Mentors International. We are currently just a couple $1,000s short of that goal. Open up your wallet in a way that actually hurts for you, because I promise whatever hurts for you does not hurt as much as living in the conditions that these people live in. And I want to invite you to help entrepreneurs all over the world to have some of the opportunities that you have. Now, you can find the link to help out with Mentors International in the show notes below this episode. So just dig down into the show notes. You'll find the link from Mentors International where you can go and donate. And I would encourage you, if you can donate $5,000, do so. If you can donate $1,000, do so. If you can only donate $500, do so. If you can only donate $100, please do so. And let's help out these entrepreneurs all over the world who need our help. All right, next, on that same trip to Utah, I had an opportunity to stop by the house of Micah Mitchell. Now, Micah is the CEO of Memberium. And if you haven't heard of Memberium, Memberium is a membership site platform. And almost all of us these days are using membership sites in some way, shape, or form. And you might think to yourself, well, I don't have a membership. I don't need a membership site. Well, there's a lot of different ways to leverage this technology for the benefit of your customers and to help grow your business. And I'm grateful for the opportunity I had to sit down with Micah. He's just a great guy, a really good friend, an Infusionsoft expert, and a membership site expert. So let's go to that interview now. All right, I want to welcome to the I Love Infusionsoft show, Micah Mitchell, who's been in the Infusionsoft community for a really, really long time, actually longer than I've been in the Infusionsoft community. I think you said you started Infusionsoft or started using Infusionsoft in 2006. Yeah. I didn't start there as an employee until 2007. But Micah, welcome, and thank you for letting us utilize your house to shoot the show today.
Yeah, of course. Welcome.
So we're here in Spanish Fork, where Micah lives with his family, of course. And as we're driving towards your house up the canyon, you can't even see the canyon today. Yeah. It's just full of smoke. What the heck's going on?
So we've had some pretty crazy wildfires, and there's usually some every year, but this year pretty close to home up the canyon here. And yesterday we tried to go out to help my sister-in-law move and made it about 30 minutes up, and they finally shut the roads off.
Really?
Yeah, so it's pretty bad. But
How long have these fires been burning?
a week or two, not maybe 2 weeks.
Contained at all? I haven't been watching the news.
I think so it's not too heavily forested here, so it's kind of contained. It's not like too crazy. But I know it's still burning, like obviously. And yeah, there's been a few days where it's been clear in the valley, and then it just looks like the apocalypse is pouring out of the canyon, like just smoke billowing.
Yeah, this morning you see like the mountains on the sides, but right in the canyon it's just all smoke coming out
crazy.
of it. Micah, tell us a little bit of the history of how you got into the Infusionsoft world and how you've used it over the last 12, 13 years, however long you've been doing it.
Yeah, sure. And thank you for the kind introduction. I think if I got in before you, it was only by a smidgen. So it's always been fun to know you and keep in touch and everything.
So when did you start using Infusionsoft?
2006.
There you go. Yeah. See, I didn't start at Infusionsoft until 2007, July.
Okay, so a little bit.
Yeah.
So so I started with Infusionsoft as a client, and I got it for my lawn care company, which was I had a little bit of experience with CRM from a company I'd worked for, so I knew when I saw Infusionsoft, like, this is amazing because it does all these things in one package, and that long ago nothing did that I know of, and I was trying to sell several different CRMs to people, and so anyways, yeah, I got into Infusionsoft for my lawn care company, and over time it kind of became me doing consulting for other companies, because since I knew I had a previous thing doing websites, and then now I knew Infusionsoft, people who needed a website and used Infusionsoft kept getting referred to me. So in the early days it was kind of tighter knit kind of a thing. So so that then over time, so that's how long ago I got started. I don't know how far you want me to go, but basically over time then, through doing consulting, I ended up doing the same kind of coding projects over and over, and those became softwares. And now I currently run Memberium for Infusionsoft.
Awesome. So tell us about Memberium. If you've been in the Infusionsoft space for any amount of time, you've probably heard of Memberium. So tell us, what does it do? How does it work with Infusionsoft? Why is this such a great marriage of technologies?
So Memberium connects Infusionsoft to WordPress. WordPress is a platform that helps you build a website. Most people are probably familiar with that, but it basically connects Infusionsoft to your website so that Infusionsoft can control access to your website. So it can basically say if the person has paid maybe for a product or for a membership or whatever, then they have access to these parts of your website, whether that's pages that have video content or downloads or a community or some special functionality, whatever it is. So that's what people are using Memberium for.
Yeah, it's actually amazing technology. We use Memberium for our membership sites. We've been using Memberium for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or so. How long has Memberium been out?
About 4 years.
Yeah, so I think right about the beginning we adopted Memberium for our own stuff, and I added it up the other day. We have helped over 100 clients with their Memberium sites, either building from scratch or just helping them with an existing Memberium implementation. And one of the things I love about it is one of the things that I love about Infusionsoft, which is if you can dream it, you can build it. You can literally just kind of think up just about any scenario on your website about how you want to control access or various different things you want to do with contacts, walking them through a particular experience or whatever, and have all that tracked back into Infusionsoft. And again, if you can dream it, you can build it. And I love that it's so flexible. At the same time, it's super easy to use. You don't have to be a coder. They've developed all these short codes that you can just plop right into the pages and make it super easy. So we love Memberium. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, and we love Infusionsoft. In fact, the reason Memberium's good for and easy for an Infusionsoft user is because it's built on top of Infusionsoft, kind of solely for it. And, having my history with Infusionsoft, and Dave, who's the developer for Memberium, he has a long history with Infusionsoft. It's like you said, if you can dream it, you can build it in Infusionsoft. And so being able to extend that out, we just really enjoy.
Yeah, so tell us how you use Infusionsoft in your Memberium business. Like, how does it help you guys with whatever, whether it's lead generation, follow-up, it's managing customers, clients, whatever. Tell us how you're using it so that someone else who maybe has a membership-based business or subscription-based business might understand how they could leverage Infusionsoft.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I'm often also coaching people who have subscription-based businesses and they're trying to make a selection between other tools and Infusionsoft, or maybe they want to use Infusionsoft, but they want to use like Shopify or WooCommerce or something outside of Infusionsoft to make the transaction. And when I talk to them, and kind of my belief is that Infusionsoft is a great all-in-one system. So when you're using it, it makes a lot of sense to use all the parts of it. So for us, with Membarium, we use it all. So we use it for all of our e-commerce, we use its order forms, it bills all of our subscriptions. It's kind of like our license server. There is a proxy in between. But basically, when our software calls back, what it's checking is the subscription status in Infusionsoft. And so we use it for that. We use it for, of course, with our billing with our subscriptions being in Infusionsoft. When a credit card fails, Infusionsoft triggers the notification. It sends them something, and they log into the membership site and update their payment details, which updates their details in Infusionsoft. And they can pay all their past due invoices in Infusionsoft and that sort of thing through the membership site. So, cool. And we do all that ourselves also. So we're kind of like our customers in that we also do subscriptions. On the marketing side, same thing. Infusionsoft captures all of our leads. We have follow-up sequences and branching sequences and stuff like that. We use a lot of their automation and their smart links and whatnot. And it's funny because having used Infusionsoft for so long and been a consultant for so long and all of that, I know there's a lot more we could even do, but I love that just even the basics, they work so well. You know? So I love Infusionsoft because it's like you do some of the right things, it starts getting automated, you're kind of off, and then you can build on it, which is fun.
That's awesome. So you're a bona fide Infusionsoft expert. You've been using it for years. You've been coaching people, consulting people, implementing people for years and years. What would you say to someone who's using Infusionsoft right now, and maybe they're, or maybe they're considering using Infusionsoft, and maybe they're not sure, how am I going to leverage this thing, or what should I do first, or it feels overwhelming, or I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with it, maybe I'm looking at something else. What would your advice be to really get the most out of it?
So, I would be really fair with people, and there was a long time ago where anyone who would say Infusionsoft, I'd be like, yes, buy it now, buy it fast,
Right.
And because I love it, and I would think it's for everybody because I love it. Now I'm a little more reserved, where it's like, well, I want to make sure it will be a good fit for them and whatnot. But at the same time, the only reason it's not going to be a good fit is if they're not going to take the time to learn and implement. So it's kind of, when I talk to people now, it's like, well, like I said, I prefer to use it as an all-in-one. I prefer to use all the components together in a smart way. And so when I talk to people who are saying, well, I'm thinking about Infusionsoft or this other thing, and I ask them, well, what do you want to do? And they only want to do the simplest thing. And I say, well, okay, what about in a year from now? Are you going to want these things, or 2 years or 5 years? And it's like, if they're going to grow into the needs of Infusionsoft, they should use Infusionsoft, and they should just bite the bullet and learn how to use it. If they're never going to grow into the needs, which honestly means their business didn't work, then they should stick with something else. And when I kind of explain it in those terms of like, look, yeah, it is going to be harder, but you can go with something easier short term and maybe get your email out or whatever. But as soon as you now say, okay, now I want to also charge money through this thing, it's like, okay, now I got to cobble a few things together. Or as soon as now I want to add in another piece, now I've got to connect it, and having it in different systems, having to cobble it together, or worse yet, moving it from system to system, I think is a lot more work than the learning curve of Infusionsoft. And so it's a hard question just because, I don't want to push somebody to it who's not going to put in the time and effort. And they've made it a lot easier. So we're not talking about an insane amount of time and effort, but just going with eyes open and putting in the time and effort, you're going to get the result, if you have a viable business. But if you're going to buy it and whine about it because you didn't do the work, then it's like, just let's think,
Right. It's interesting, Infusionsoft was originally sold as, like you're talking about, this all-in-one solution, and they've kind of backed away from that message because people get into it and they go, well, it doesn't include the social media management, it doesn't include this other stuff, it doesn't have all this stuff, right? But it's interesting because when I think about Infusionsoft now, I believe truly the magic still comes from the fact that you have your purchase processing stuff happening and all your customer data and the marketing engine all connected. And when that stuff all just works seamlessly together, you can do amazing things that you you still can't do in other systems that are trying to copy Infusionsoft. No one's figured out that magic yet. I mean, there are people that are close, right? And there are people that are doing some of the pieces really well. And you could say, hey, some software solutions out there do some of those pieces better than Infusionsoft. Absolutely, right? But no one's put together the magic of those systems all working together in the same way. And that's one of the things I think is amazing.
Yeah, I agree with all of that completely. And it's funny because I am kind of stuck in the past when I say all-in-one, because it's like, well, back then you used to have separate systems for CRM and shopping and email management, and so it was all-in-one. So yeah, there's some new stuff it doesn't include, and like you said, maybe some of its specific features aren't the best in the world, but how to put it, I don't want to like labor the point, but it's like, okay, let's say your shopping cart is better, but it doesn't pass enough information to your marketing system. Right. Your overall system's not better, you know. So, anyways, I love Infusionsoft. I'm kind of a die-hard, probably biased.
Absolutely. Well, Micah, thank you again for being on the show. We really appreciate you and your expertise.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Micah is awesome. I hope you really enjoyed that segment with Micah. If you're interested in a membership site platform, maybe you already have a membership site and you want to upgrade that, or you're just thinking about how you might be able to utilize a membership site in your business, then I would encourage you to check out Memberium. At BoxOut, we have helped hundreds of clients utilize Memberium in their membership sites. It's a wonderful platform. We highly recommend it. Just find the link to Memberium in the show notes down below this video. Now in this next segment, I want to introduce you to a man who can really help you with your business. And this is an area where most of us don't really give much thought. I can tell you when I started my business, I didn't give this any thought at all. And most people don't. And what ends up happening is it costs you thousands and thousands of dollars. And as you grow, it'll end up costing you thousands of dollars per month without you even realizing it. And that, to me, is scary. And this has to do with your merchant account, the way you process and collect money in your business. Now, if you're like most of us and you don't give it much thought and you sign up for PayPal or Stripe or any one of the standard offerings out there, then you're actually wasting all of this money, thousands of dollars every month. And so I invited Tony Shap from Card Connect to come down to our office here in Carlsbad, California, sit down with me and teach us a little bit about merchant account systems and the fees that are associated with them. Because again, these are just kind of not quite hidden fees, but feels like hidden fees when you realize what's going on. And these fees just are slowly sucking the life out of your business every single month if you're not aware of it. So let's go to the interview with Tony and learn a little bit about your merchant account and the associated fees. All right, I'm here with Tony Shap from Card Connect. Tony, welcome to the I Love Infusionsoft show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on the show. This is a topic that most small business owners probably don't think about a whole lot. And the topic is your merchant account, your payment processor, and the fees that go into that. It's one of those things that I know for me, for many years in business, it's just kind of like an accepted cost. Right. It's like I just kind of got set up with a merchant account in the beginning and just assumed, okay, that's just what you pay. It's just part of the cost of doing business, right? Yeah. And, you know, I didn't know until I met you that there's a whole lot more behind all of this, and there are things we can do to reduce that cost significantly. And as you grow, you know, that chunk of money that's being pulled out in those fees becomes greater and greater, of course, because it's a percentage. And if you can reduce the amount that you're spending on your merchant account or your processing fees or whatever you want to call it, then you know, that can make a big difference in the business. So let's start off by explaining just a little bit about the whole thing for small business owners, because we don't really care, right? All we care about is our business. You know, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a landscaper or whatever, you know, you're passionate about your own trade, not necessarily about this payment stuff. So first off, let's explain, or you should explain, because I don't know. What is a merchant processor, and what is a merchant account, and what's a payment processor? Because I didn't even realize when I first signed up, like, you end up with two different things. What are those two things, and help us understand what this means in just brief terms so that a business owner can understand.
Sure. So whenever you accept a credit card payment, it goes through the payment processor. Okay. And on the back end, a merchant account is what funds and ACHs the money into your bank account.
Okay.
And then simple as that.
So the processor is authorized.net?
The processor would be that would be payment gateway that processes transactions securely, and then they'll have it funnel through us, and then we're the payment processor, and then we facilitate the transaction, process it, and then put it in your bank account.
Okay, so like when you sign up for an account, like for us, we have our account with Card Connect. So Card Connect is which piece of that? It's the payment processor.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And the merchant account is.
Well, it's actually the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So how come you need Card Connect and authorized.net? Like, what do those two different pieces do?
Great question. So, and when you walk in, the best analogy I could give you is when you walk in a store and when you pay at a restaurant, they swipe your card. That's an actual point of sale equipment.
Yep.
Online, it's a virtual terminal, and that piece would be essentially authorized.net, which handles the transactions securely. So when your customer decides to make the purchase online, then what will happen is authorized.net will encrypt the transaction and pass it through to us, and we'll validate it and make sure it's good, and we'll put it in your bank account.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully that clears up that part of it for you. I know for me, the whole thing ends up being a little confusing, and I don't really care as long as the money ends up in my account. But the next part I do care a lot about, and that is how much we're actually paying for this service of electronically processing the transactions. So again, when you sign up, you first get going in business, you sign up for a merchant account. Kind of the standard out there, if you look around, is about 3% is what you hear you're being charged. Usually you have some flat fee, like $45 a month to have the account, and then it might be like 10 cents per transaction plus 3% or whatever. Again, I just assumed that's kind of cost of doing business. Well, when I met Tony explained to me how this actually works. That 3% has different parts to it. So why don't you explain what the different parts are and what people can do to reduce that amount?
Great, sure. So at a high level, when people like you and I go get a loan for a house, we get it from the bank, and the bank gets it from the central banks, and it's called prime, right? That's the interchange. So in our industry, it's called interchange, and that's set by Visa, MasterCard associations, and that's a true cost.
So you can't get any lower than that because that's just what they charge across the board.
Exactly.
Right.
And whether you're Walmart or you're just a simple karate studio, the cost is the same. What happens is the processors mark up to pad it, and that's when you show up with the 3%. That's where it gets there. That's how we make our money.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you go and look up interchange rates, it's really confusing because there's about 1,000 different rates, right, for different types of cards. If it's a preferred card, if it's a signature card, if it's a foreign card, if it's, all these different types of cards have different rates, and there's no sense trying to figure out, what they all are or remember them. But I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think when you kind of average it all out, you end up paying about 1.5% interchange, or somewhere around there, somewhere between 1 and 1.5%. And so the processors out there are generally marking up another 1.5 to 2% to make their money. That's where they get to the 3%, right?
Yeah.
So a company like Card Connect, what do you guys charge?
So we charge 50 basis points on top of the interchange. So we let you pay the true cost for accepting credit cards. So we believe in complete transparency. So you'll see exactly what you pay. So you're going to pay exactly what like Walmart would pay, Amazon would pay. You'll pay that true cost plus our 50 basis points. So that's how we make our money.
So 50 basis points is 0.5%,
yeah,
right? So so when we switched from our bank, which we were doing 3%, to Card Connect, we reduced our fees by, what is that, 66%,
yeah.
right? We went all from 1.5%-ish down to 0.5% using Card Connect. And for a business like ours, that's thousands of dollars per month, right? Yeah. It's significant. So this is something you definitely want to look into. If you want to talk to Tony, what we'll do is we'll put a link on under this video in the show notes for the show, where you can go right there and fill out a form and get in contact with Tony directly, and he can talk you through their various different services and help you get set up with a Card Connect account, which will cost you a whole lot less than what you're probably paying. Now, there's different benefits to different types of accounts. So just one thing to mention, if you log into Infusionsoft and you set up an Infusionsoft payments account, Infusionsoft isn't actually a payment processor. They've teamed up with another company to offer that. And what they've done is, I don't know exactly how it works, but Infusionsoft has done some deal with them where Infusionsoft is accountable at some level for some of the underwriting, because what happens is you can go in there and within 10 minutes you've got a live account, right? And when you get a standard merchant account, you're going to have to go through an underwriting process. So you have to provide some documentation to Tony. They'll get it to the underwriters, and they'll look at it and look at, how much are you processing each month, what are your average transactions, all that kind of stuff, and then they'll approve or deny your account. And if you're a standard, Infusionsoft customer with a standard business, you're probably going to be approved. Yep. We've helped quite a few people do this, and pretty much everyone's gotten approved. So yeah, that's the process, and I would love to get you connected with Tony and be saving money that you didn't even know you were losing.
Absolutely. And the last thing I like to say, it's almost like refinancing your house. This is the best analogy I could give to you guys. You don't have to move. You do some paperwork. You can save thousands of dollars a month, if not per year. So it's the same thing. You don't have to move your platforms. You can stay on Infusionsoft, and we just we integrate with them. So simply by doing some paperwork, we can look at the numbers to see if we can save you some money. If the numbers make sense, then we can talk about next steps. And if they don't, they don't. At least at the very much, you can make sure that you're paying the lowest rate possible today. Because what happens, the number one thing, I look at statements all day long, and people think they're paying the lowest rate possible. Right. But when you look at the newest rates that came out, it's just business, right? Kind of like Verizon or AT&T. They have better rates for their new customers than existing. Right. So we kind of try to build some awareness around that. That's my whole mission, is to make sure that businesses are not overpaying. They're paying the lowest rate possible. And also, I believe that it's your money. You're paying a fee to accept it. You should have that the next day. Yeah. And pay the lowest rate possible. That way your COA, you can focus on driving your COA down, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tony, thank you. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. All right, hopefully you learned a thing or two about your merchant account and the fees related to your merchant account. I know I did. I had no idea there was this thing called interchange. I had no idea that people charge different rates on top of interchange, and we were just using the merchant account from our bank and apparently wasting a lot of money. When I met Tony, he was able to save us thousands of dollars per month through a much better situation with Card Connect. If you'd like to talk to Tony about how they can possibly help you reduce your merchant account fees, then find the link to talk to Tony in the show notes, and he'll be able to connect with you, have a conversation, and he'll be able to determine if they can help you or if they can't. I would highly encourage a conversation with Tony to determine if you can save some money there. Next, we're going to go to this interview with Clate, the CEO of Infusionsoft. I want you to pay close attention to the answers that Clate gives in response to the questions that I ask. I want you to hear about how he talks about the future of Infusionsoft. And once this segment is over, like I said, I'll give you my opinion and my observations of what is going on in the Infusionsoft community, as well as at Infusionsoft headquarters itself. All right, welcome everybody to the I Love Infusionsoft show. This is the very first episode, and I'm super excited to have Clate, CEO of Infusionsoft, with us.
Yeah, great to be here, Tyler. Thank you.
Yeah, so Clate, you've been doing this Infusionsoft stuff for quite a few years. What is it, 15, 16 years now?
Yeah, it is.
Something like that?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about the history of Infusionsoft, maybe the highs and the lows, and some of the things you've learned.
Oh, gosh. I'll try to be real quick. First 3 years, we were a small service business, trading hours for dollars, doing custom software for small businesses. Took us a while till we got to where we had our product, and then we had this CRM product that we began offering to help small businesses grow. Then we went for a few years and had some good success there and decided, hey, we want to set our sights on something really big. We want to really become a company that's known in small businesses, that helps small businesses grow, and we think our CRM software can do that in a really, really big way. So started to really build the business, and now we've got a couple 100,000 users of our software and over 500 employees, and been through lots of ups and downs and turns and interesting challenges along the way. Just so you know, it never gets easier. It's always hard. That's entrepreneurship. That's just the way it is. But I would say it's just been a ton of fun helping small businesses to improve their sales and marketing and customer service using our CRM software, and we feel like we've just been laying the foundation for the next big run of growth that's ahead. So it's been really fun over the last couple of years getting that set, and now I'm really excited for what's on the horizon.
Cool. So before we get to what's on the horizon, I want to go back to what you said in the very beginning, those first 3 years. Because that's really where the connection
Yes.
is, right? To your current customers, that's where the connection is. You're an entrepreneur at heart. You're a
Yep.
small business owner at heart, although you have this massive business now.
Yep.
Tell us just a little bit about what those first 3 years were like, because I want to make sure people understand that you get them.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
It was freaking hard. It was just so hard. Every day was survival. And, after about 3 years, we got to where, I wasn't worried that the business was going to be around tomorrow. I felt like, okay, we're actually going to survive. But those first 3 years were super hard on our relationships, near bankruptcy, as challenging as anything I could possibly imagine. It was so hard. And that's really where, I began to have so much compassion for what business owners go through and what they create. And on the outside, everything might look fine, but I know what's going on the inside. The house is on fire, and your mind is on fire, and your relationships are on fire, and your health is on fire. I mean, it's just really, really tough. So we get that, and probably the story within the story is that when we began to use our software to automatically follow up, it was the great game changer. Yeah. And that to me was when I started to go, okay, I get it. And when you peel back everything that Infusionsoft can do, and it's super powerful, it can do so much. But when you get right down to it, it's about automatically following up with your customers in very personalized ways to move them along the customer life cycle in your business. That's it.
That's all what it comes down to, right there. Pretty simple, but hard to actually execute on.
It is hard.
So the lesson for the small business owner who's in that period, those first 3 years that you had, and they're drowning.
Yeah.
Why did you push through it? One, and then what can they learn from your experience? How do they push through it?
Yeah. So why we pushed through it is because we just had a drive and a passion to be successful. We didn't want to accept failure, and there were many, 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 many days where failure was the easier choice, but we just wouldn't accept it. So I just think there's a tenacity and a drive and I know we're going to make this work that's critical. And I know people will say, oh, it's good to know when to quit. Bullcrap. It's not good to know that. It is good as an entrepreneur to push through whatever it is and make sure that you come out on top. And you can't have quitting as an option. If quitting is an option, you will quit. So
sure.
I'll be really, really clear in saying we wanted to help small businesses be successful. That's why we did it. We got through that hard part ourselves, and then we were like, okay. And the truth is, in those early days, it wasn't because we had this passion to help small businesses succeed. We wanted to help our small business succeed, right?
Survive.
We wanted to survive. Once we got through that first hard part, then it was about helping small businesses succeed. And we've had plenty of hard times since then. Now, maybe it's not a daily fight for survival, but we've had plenty of hard challenges over the last, the 12, 13 years that followed. And to us, it's about helping small businesses succeed. So I'd say number one, don't let failure be an option. Number two, you've got to get organized before you can be successful in following up with your customers. So the most important and fundamental thing that Infusionsoft does is it helps you get organized with tags and getting all your stuff in one place so that your brain's not going crazy trying to keep everything together. That system, Infusionsoft, is a great system of organization before it's a great system of automation.
Yeah, I always tell people you should go home at night without a care in the world, because you know that on your Infusionsoft dashboard, everything's going to be waiting for you in the morning.
Yeah.
Who I need to call, what
Yes.
leads I need to call, what partners I need to deal with, all that kind of stuff should be right there, and it's fairly easy to set that up.
That's right, and that's one thing you guys do really well is you help our customers get organized through your box out methods that you use.
So let's talk about the future a little bit. Obviously, Infusionsoft has been the leader in sales and marketing automation software for quite some time.
Yes.
It's been a phenomenal software and tool for so many small business owners, but you're looking way, way, way bigger than that.
Way bigger than that.
And now you have released and are releasing more of the new Infusionsoft.
Yes.
New brand, new little lipstick on it.
Yep.
But no, it's more than just the brand, right? There's a whole new kind of philosophy behind it. Tell us what this is all about.
Yeah. So this goes back to our Everest mission that went through the end of 2016. And the Everest mission was all about creating the most powerful sales and marketing automation software to help small businesses grow. The reality is that does not satisfy the vision we have for this company. because there's a very small percentage of small businesses out there that want the powerful sales and marketing automation. First, they want it to be easy. Then gradually they want to get more power. And so when we got to the end of 16, we said, okay, we're shifting our strategy to be all about make it easy to simplify growth for small businesses. And that means lead with ease and then follow with power. So that started to happen in early last year. And the transformation of the company that you're watching is all about that strategy. And the reason is that our mission is to simplify growth for millions of small businesses worldwide. We can't do that leading with power. So sometimes our partners will be like, hey, you're not giving us all the power tools. You're right. That's not what we're driving on right now. The power will follow. If our partners will just be patient, the power will follow, because the power is necessary to simplify growth. But you have to lead with simplification. And anybody that looks at the new Infusionsoft versus classic Infusionsoft will recognize we're leading with simplicity. Now, if you're a power junkie, you're like, come on, where's all the power? It's coming. We're not getting rid of all of that. And there is power behind the scenes. It's coming gradually. So we didn't just take lipstick and redo the product. We actually redid the product from the ground up in order to be able to serve millions of small businesses. But it all comes back to that strategy. The strategy shifted at the beginning of 2017, where we decided, okay, we're going to go for this in a much, much bigger way. And it's always been customer relationship management software, CRM software. But in the initial 10 years of our business, 10 years of the business as we know it, from 2007 and through the end of 2016, it was about the power tools of CRM software. And now it's about lead with simplicity, take our CRM software to millions, and let those who want the power gradually adopt the power.
Yeah, so one of the things I would say is, you mentioned not everyone wants the power. I think everyone wants the results of the power.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not that the power is not for everybody. It's just
right.
that not everyone's going to be the one in there messing with the power. Right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So that's why I like where you're going with the simplicity, because in the end, I think the goal is to give everyone the results without them having to deal with the power, right?
That's
they
right.
still get the value of the power, but they're not having to go in and configure all the stuff and whatever. And there's always room for partners to get into that detail. Right?
Here's the best way that I can describe it, and I've only had customers tell me this analogy about 5,000 times over the last 10 years. Infusionsoft's like a Ferrari, but you know what? I don't want to get under the hood and do all the stuff and tune everything just right. I just want to drive really fast.
Yeah.
Okay. That's exactly right. Our campaign builder is kind of like the Ferrari. You can do all kinds of amazing stuff. But what if you don't ever want to get under the hood of the campaign builder? You just want campaigns. Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about what we're releasing later this month. Is it's builderless campaigns. The ability to get campaigns on the fly in the moment you need them, and not have to go through all the campaign builder beauty.
Yeah.
Now, can you do that? Yes, you can do that if you want. Can our partners still do that? Absolutely. But you don't have to go through the campaign builder to get campaigns if you don't want to.
Awesome. So campaign builderless campaigns.
Builderless campaigns
is one thing.
Yes.
Can you tell us about any of the other features that are coming?
Yeah, the mobile stuff is awesome. Huge step forward what we're doing. The new Infusionsoft mobile application is great. Now that's for new Infusionsoft. It's not on the classic Infusionsoft, but the new Infusionsoft mobile app is really awesome. I talked about the builderless campaigns. We are also doing some really cool things with invoicing. So the invoicing capability is really clean and simple. That's really exciting. I know I'm missing some other things. We've got a number of things.
Sales pipeline stuff?
Yeah, sales pipeline, the drag and drop sales pipeline in new Infusionsoft. That's really exciting. We've got some scheduling capabilities that are built in, so you don't have to go out and tie with something else. But that's a really cool thing that just makes it a lot easier. The whole point is to move customers through your customer life cycle and do it in an automated fashion. That's hard to do if you don't have some native scheduling capabilities in the software. So we've brought that in. The September release has a number of things, including mobile app scheduling, invoicing, the pipeline. There's a lot of pretty cool stuff in there.
So yeah, it sounds super exciting. What do you say to people who are utilizing classic Infusionsoft right now and they hear about all these improvements happening in the new?
Yes.
What are they to do?
Yeah. So just like some of the UI stuff that came from new makes its way into Classic, you'll see more of the stuff that we're doing in new making its way into Classic, and vice versa. There are some things in Classic that are powerful that are coming into the new. It's the same platform, so ultimately you can be on one and you're on both. But if you want to stick with Classic because you don't want to wait till all the power is in new, that's totally fine. You can do that. You don't have to. We're not going to be like taking that away from you anytime soon. That's years down the road.
Very good. So Infusionsoft has been the leader in sales and marketing automation software. What is it going to be in the future? You're building a new thing.
Yeah.
Is it still sales and marketing automation software? Or is it something else? What do you call it?
It's called customer relationship management software. It's CRM software. It's helping our customers to manage their customer relationships more effectively. And so it's CRM software. We're not going to talk about it as marketing automation or sales and marketing automation. We're going to talk about it as CRM software. But when you get right down to it, it's about managing your customers more effectively. So we might shorthand it and call it customer management software. But it's really about your valuable relationships with your customers. It's about not dropping the ball with them, not letting things slip through the cracks, getting things organized, and then moving those customers along in your customer life cycle in an automated fashion so you save time and grow sales.
So Clate, 11 and a half years ago or so, I left a job that my wife thought was the best thing ever. I was working for a pharmaceutical company, had a company car, expense account, whatever, nice home in California. Left all that, moved to Arizona because I really liked this company called Infusionsoft that was kind of emerging. And I love Infusionsoft, but I want to give you an opportunity to tell the crowd here why you love Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
And that could be the company, the community, the software, whatever part of it you want to talk about.
Yeah, I love Infusionsoft because I love helping small businesses succeed. And small business is hard. We talked about this at the beginning. It's really hard. But when you get a system to help you manage your customers more effectively, you can go on vacation and not have to stress all the time. You can actually have profit in your business because the business is more efficient. You can grow your business and have a systematic way of doing that, and it's not so crushing on the business owner. To me, running a business is hard enough without having a system. You got to have a system to do it effectively. And as you know, the real power of Infusionsoft is all that you can automate. And when I watch people automate those customer processes, they serve their customers better, they grow their business, and they do it much more efficiently, so there's profit there. I love Infusionsoft because I love helping small businesses succeed.
Awesome. Thank you, Clate. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And you heard it right here. See you guys next time.
Thanks.
All right. Now, Clate has this wonderful gift of making you feel comfortable, engendering confidence, and helping you be optimistic about the future. Clate is an eternal optimist. And I think that is one of the things that has allowed him to push through some crazy challenges in growing Infusionsoft, in leading amazing teams, and achieving what he's achieved, which is absolutely amazing. But when you take a step back from that conversation and you really listen to what he said and what's going on, I know for me it was very eye-opening. I realized that all of the solutions that seem to be nipping at Infusionsoft's heels, whether it be ActiveCampaign, Ontraport, ClickFunnels, etc., they're all playing in that very small space of marketing automation. The space that Infusionsoft truthfully formed and created out of nothing for small businesses. And they will likely continue to play in that space. But Infusionsoft has a much bigger vision, a much grander vision, and that is to help all small business owners, all small businesses. And in the United States, I don't remember the exact numbers, there's 28 or 29 million small businesses, and only a handful of those are actually interested in and exploring marketing automation tools like Infusionsoft. So as Infusionsoft goes and conquers this much bigger market, there's much more opportunity for all of us there. In that same conversation that I had with Clate, off camera, he shared with me that Infusionsoft is profitable. Infusionsoft has had a couple of its most successful quarters recently in terms of revenue and growth and retention and some of those types of things. And so the metrics behind the business are solid. It's important also to realize that Infusionsoft recently raised another $17 million in investment funding. Now, you might wonder, well, why do they need to go raise more money when they raised a bunch of money before? I think the more important question is, why would someone lend them money, right? Because you don't just roll up to the bank or to an investment firm and ask for money and they just hand it over, right? People are very judicious about where they invest, how they invest, who they invest in, and they're only going to invest to get a return. So the fact that more investment money is pouring into Infusionsoft is a good sign. It's a sign that someone who's really smart with their money realizes that Infusionsoft has a bright future ahead. Now, the new Infusionsoft is, to me, what is really, really exciting, and really shows that Infusionsoft is invested in a much bigger future than what we've all been thinking about for so long. The new Infusionsoft is taking an entirely different approach than what we've seen in the past, and that is to help small businesses with their standard day-to-day problems. Not the automation that we're always thinking about when we're in this world, but the standard things like invoicing and setting appointments and things like that. And by helping with those problems in unique and creative ways, and then prompting automation on the fly. For example, you send an invoice and then a prompt automatically pops up, says, hey, if this invoice hasn't been paid in 3 days, would you like to send an automatic reminder? Yes or no? That introduces automation in a very subtle, easy, simple way to consume process that allows any small business owner to take advantage of automation without having to build campaigns. And by introducing small businesses to automation and getting them excited about it and hooked on it, it will then get them to the point where maybe they continue to use that kind of automation, or maybe they hire a partner or turn on the campaign builder feature and start to learn how to build campaigns themselves. So in my opinion, it's an ingenious way to tackle that large market of small business owners that is not asking for the power of automation. I think the future of Infusionsoft is extremely bright. I believe that Infusionsoft lost its way. That is my own opinion. That is my own opinion. I have no insider information, but I believe that for a few years, Infusionsoft did lose its way. I don't know why. I don't know how. I'm not interested in that. But I believe that Infusionsoft has found a very, very exciting path forward. I think that those of us that are partners, those of us that are Infusionsoft customers, should be extremely excited about what's to come. We're seeing these improvements in the new Infusionsoft start to create amazing opportunities. As well, those improvements are starting to leak into classic Infusionsoft, as well as the development team at Infusionsoft starting to go back and fix little things and improve little things that have been there and been maybe annoyances for a long time. We're starting to see some rapid increases in momentum in the progress of Infusionsoft as a software. I see this as extremely exciting. I'm very, very excited about the future of Infusionsoft, being a partner with Infusionsoft, as well as being a customer with the multiple companies that I run myself, utilizing Infusionsoft in those companies. So I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of the I Love Infusionsoft show. In the future, there probably won't be so many interviews. It'll be a little bit shorter. We had just a few of these that had piled up over time before we were able to get this episode out the door. So welcome. If you'd like to be alerted every time we have a new episode, just join the I Love Infusionsoft newsletter, which you should be able to do in the show notes. Just find the link there, put in your email address. You'll get alerted every time we have a new episode, and we'll send out occasional tips and tricks for Infusionsoft users to keep you moving forward with your Infusionsoft usage. So thank you for listening to the first episode of the I Love Infusionsoft show. Stay tuned, many episodes to come, and welcome to the I Love Infusionsoft show.